Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I decided to put the chess bots on chess.com to the test. I'm a 1235 rated on my chess.com app, and Coach Dante, who's one of the bots on chess.com, is a 1200 rated, so I think it's a fair battle and I just want to see, are we going to be able to beat him? Stick around to find out. Let's just go ahead and get started. So I start off with the English, pushing my pawn on c4, at which point they push their e-pawn. I play my knight to c3. They push their other pawn f5. I attack the open pawn on the e5 square with my knight just because they're not protecting it, and they don't protect it anymore, so I just decided to take it. They try to kick my knight with their knight, but I just take that too. It seems fair to me. One knight for a knight and a pawn. I continue. After they take on c6, I decide to fianchetto my bishop again. I love doing that, so I always try to get it out there. They play the queen to d6. I push my pawn just to try and start an attack against them, which they see and move their queen away. And I still try to continue, but they retreat their queen. I then decide to attack just that free pawn that's kind of hanging right there. If I can never at any point kick the queen, then I'll get another pawn. And this game has been pretty fair so far. There's nothing too crazy, but I promise it gets weird in the end, so you'll see that. But they push their pawn on h6. I push my pawn on h4. It's usually what I do when they push their h or a pawns, unless they're trying to push their knight out or kick something of mine. And then they play c5 with their bishop. I decide to finally fianchetto, put my bishop on b2, and then they castle. Which honestly, I always forget to castle, and my king is always unsafe. So I decide to just castle in this position as well. And thank God I did, because they moved their rook to attack my pawn on the e-file. I moved my rook to defend, and then they moved their knight to this position, which is honestly where I was first confused in this match. I noticed that they had a lot of pieces just attacking the e3 square, and I really didn't know what to do about that, so I just decided to push my pawn forward. They don't take, but instead add another defender, take the queen to there, and I defend once again with my queen. They put their bishop on b4, and this is where the game gets really interesting because like I said, the whole game, Coach Dante was playing fine. They weren't kicking my butt, which is what I was expecting. But I tried to kick out their bishop by pushing my a3 pawn, and instead of taking or moving it at least or doing something, they just moved their king one square to the right on the h file. This is super confusing, so I decided to take, expecting them to take back, maybe attack my knight or something. But they don't. They instead put their rook on the d file, which it's very confusing. Let me know in the comments down below if you understand what they're doing, because I really didn't in this position, and I was able to take advantage of it, thankfully. So I attack their knight. They push back just so they could attack my queen, at which point I just decided to trade. I think I'm up a little bit, so I just want to trade off pieces as much as I can. They take back the queen. I push my pawn. They push their pawn. And I just snagged that extra bishop right over there in the corner. It was hanging, and obviously they could take back with the rook, but like I said, just trading pieces. And so they take back with the rook. I take with my pawn. They take with their queen. And I don't know if this is a great move, just because by moving my pawn there, it kind of exposes my king a lot. And I realized this after playing the move, but there's nothing I could do about it. I was just hoping that I can just keep the defense going. So I push my pawn in the h file. They play their rook to the f file just to back up their queen, and I just push my pawn to defend it so that they can't double attack it. They decide to play their queen to h4, at which point I see the pawns over there just kind of accumulating and just decide to take pieces where I can. And this is once again a weird move by Coach Dante. Like, the rook is hanging. They just have a hanging rook right here for no reason, and obviously I'm going to take it, so I do. And they take my hanging pawn over there, which is fine. I don't care about that pawn anymore. And at this point, I know I'm winning the game, so I just go for the queen trade. I try to offer it on the h file. They don't end up taking it, instead retreating to, I guess, attack my pawn there, but it's double defended, so I'm really not worried. I just decide to start pushing, be a little aggressive, try to trade off as many pieces as I can and expose any of their pieces. So they decide to move their queen. I move my rook to the d1 just to take over the d file, and then they once again stack their queen with their rook. I decided to just attack and see, where they're going to move their queen. I didn't think that they would take it, obviously, uh, but they just decide not to move their queen. They just take that pawn over there, like that's going to do anything for them. But obviously, I take the queen. They take back with the pawn. and I take their other free pawn. I'm just trying to bury him at this point. And so they push their pawn, I push my pawn, just so I don't have to worry about defending it. Or I always let pawns slip past my defense and make it somehow to the very end and become queens. It always annoys me, so I'm just gonna ignore it for now. They decide to attack my free pawn on the e5 pile, which is hanging, so I defend there. Once again, super confusing move here, played by Coach Dante. They just decide to take the pawn, and like I can just take back and then check him. It's a very clear move. Like it's I don't know what they're doing. Let me know if this is like a stalemate tactic, maybe, because it was confusing in the moment. But I obviously take advantage, check. They move to the G file. I check again. They move back to the H file, and we end with checkmate. So it was a good win, and I was really confused. Maybe Coach Dante has like a really low rating in endgames or something like that. I really don't know, but their endgame was horrible, and up until like the middle game, I felt like it was fairly even. But we pull out the dub, and I'm only 35 points higher, so I don't really think that that was an unfair battle. Let me know though. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, then drop a like, drop a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.